our very dramatic intro music, welcoming us here to the stage. So everyone in the audience, please go ahead and put your headphones on, and then you will be able to hear our enlightening conversation. One more note is we will put up a QR code on the screen. If you would like this conversation with subtitles in any language of your choosing, you can do that via the Speaksy app. So just download that QR code and away you go. I am excited to welcome Hamed to the stage, who is the founder and CEO of Nearfield Instruments, and he has been awake for 48 hours. Is that what you said?
Correct.
Due to adventures flying to Asia and beyond for the business. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so for everyone in the audience, if and when you ask questions at the end, they need to be easy questions.
No. It should be exciting, otherwise I fall in asleep.
Right. Okay, we'll try and keep this lively. The clock will start shortly, and we'll put 12 minutes up there so we don't go over. We are here to talk about semiconductors and hardware and the industry that you work in. On the side of the stage, I was mentioning to Hamed, for anyone who has been watching the ecosystem, NVIDIA is now the value of Tesla and Amazon combined, I believe, in terms of market value. We chatted a bit about why you chose to build something in hardware, and you had some really interesting reasons about how big and impactful the sector is. And I'm curious to hear you talk more about that.
Sure. We don't build only hardware, it's the full system. It has complex software as well. As a matter of fact, software department in Nearfield is the biggest department.
Okay.
So that's a complex system. It's a deep.
Yeah.
The reason, the main motivation was that semiconductor industry, chip manufacturing, defines the future of society. Grand challenges, solution for grand challenges, and the wealth of my kids and other kids.
Yeah. It's a huge, you referenced when we chatted, for example, TSMC in Taiwan is just a huge player, and the scale that companies like yours can reach is really impressive in terms of employment, but also just in terms of economic value. And so how big is Nearfield Instruments now?
We are today, we have 170 employees. We have about close to 100 different suppliers. So effectively more than 500 people directly work for the business of Nearfield, only in Netherlands.
Wow. And expect that to continue to grow?
So we started in the Netherlands in Rotterdam area. We have a location in Eindhoven. We have a sister company in South Korea, Nearfield Korea as well. We will grow in terms of number of employees with maximum of 30%. The reason is that it is not an army type of business. So onboarding, training, learning and development of every individual employee is so important.
Yeah.
So we grow less, but we pay attention to those new employees.
Yeah. Interesting. I hear you talk about this. This is very much a CEO focus, is the people. But you were the CTO of Nearfield, correct?
And still I am. Yeah.
And you still are. And is that important for the person leading this type of business to really have that deep technical understanding?
Absolutely, yes. The type of customers that we have is the most knowledgeable when it comes to technology, and sales in semiconductor industry is only technical. So if you are not technically very knowledgeable and reputable for customers, they don't want to talk to you. And leadership it's important to know the content. That's not just me, but also my management team, my leadership team. Very knowledgeable, content-oriented, vast experience in semiconductor industries.
Yeah.
That's basically plays a very important role.
Yeah. Both to communicate internally and externally, I'm sure. And so I know there's no such thing as a typical day. You've been traveling for 48 hours, but help give us a sense of what might a day look like in your life in this CEO and CTO role. What are the types of challenges you're tackling on any given day? What are kind of your main focuses?
It varies, day by day
Yeah.
and by customers. Customer is the reason that we exist.
Yeah.
So our day is defined with customers and meeting their request. This is how, and then it's either innovation that we need to bring because customer needs that for the next generation of chips, or is an escalations, they are unhappy and we need to act fast. Investment is extremely important because it's very capital intensive, very capital intensive. Stakeholder management, we are considered or recognized as a sensitive technology in Netherlands. It is at the heart of geopolitical issues as well.
Can you say more about that?
Sure, yes. So it is the power of and the influence level of countries
Yeah.
is defined by their control points in semiconductor value chain.
Wow.
This is the future. The chip defines everything for every country. If you have that technology, if you have a control point in the value chain, you can dictate and make your agenda as a nation happens. US has its own agenda.
Yeah.
China has its own agenda. Europe has its own agenda as well. And this basically is a competition, sometimes battle, and sometimes a war.
Yeah.
And we are in the middle of it.
Semiconductor Game of Thrones. This is fascinating. And with that, one would imagine that another thing that's really been in the news a lot lately is ASML. Will they stay? Will they go? How do we keep them? What needs to be done? And then I think we see perhaps Dutch politics moving in a direction that might actually not be good for the future of businesses in terms of welcoming international talent, other things like that. Is there then, as a company, as an entrepreneur in this space, do you feel like you have leverage in regulatory conversations to get what you need, more so perhaps than in other industries?
A good thing about not having full concentration is that I cannot think about the words that I'm going to use. So I'm going to be very direct.
Great.
Leverage, if you want to have leverage over some organizations,
Yeah.
that organization should be interested, should understand.
Yeah.
And this is not the case with politicians in this country.
Right.
When I talk with the politicians in Taiwan, for example,
Right.
they name my product, what it
Wow.
does. That's not the case here. So yes, it is changing to a wrong directions. Myself as a CEO and Christoph Oke from ASML, we actually oppose that very heavily.
Yeah.
It's pity.
Yeah.
It will not makes us a loser. The country will lose it.
Right.
Yeah?
Right.
So in deep tech, either you are a winner or you are a loser. There's nothing in between. Yeah? And that is defined with your technology, with your innovation,
Right.
and with your people.
Yeah.
If you have those, then you have the fundamentals to be a winner.
Right.
The rest is facilitator, bonus, help.
Yeah.
If it's not there and you have those three and you're in control, you will manage it.
Right.
Just matter of time and how you adjust your strategy.
Yeah.
But it's a pity because the added value and return for the society is less.
Yeah. And it feels like there's too much focus downstream on how to keep companies rather than upstream on what needs to be done in the first place to just make it very easy to be growing these businesses here as well, which is a pity.
Yes.
Okay, I love you being direct. That was great. I'd like to pivot, and if we have any budding deep tech or hardware entrepreneurs in the audience, what would be some of the things you would tell them as they're starting their journey?
Get it started, first of all. Make sure that you have the winning team with yourself.
Yeah. Completely contained in yourself, you mean?
The winning team with you. The
With you,
people around you.
Yeah.
And the people is your colleagues, your partners, your employees, your investors, your advisors. Those make a big difference.
Yeah.
This is one of the reason that Nearfield is successful, is a winner, and is set to be winner. Is if I look at the ecosystem of the people around it, and I quote one of my dear friend who is the chairman of the advisory board of Samsung. He said, what I like about Nearfield is that people around it covers more than half of the whole semiconductor industry.
Wow.
Yeah. So these people make a difference, and it's it gives me energy.
Yeah.
I'm tired. We have challenge.
Yeah.
But my colleague said, I'm here, and she came with me, and we back each other.
Yeah. That's so important.
That makes a big deal because it's very bumpy road. It's very challenging, and you need people that they can back you up, that can stand together with you, that you can build a house in their shoulders.
Yeah. That's beautiful. And I feel like there are some industries in which it's okay to copy others, or it's okay to have really close adjacent ideas to something someone else is building. How unique does your idea need to be successful in deep tech or hardware compared to what you might see in some other types of startup fields?
It's not only has to be very unique, it's not about the uniqueness.
Yeah.
Semiconductor industry, although it is perceived by public that is very technology oriented,
Yeah.
it is extremely conservative. If something works, they are not going to change it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you need to be unique, not in technology necessarily. You need to be unique in the solution to the pain of the customer. Yeah. And not just today, you need to be ready and convince them that you have the uniqueness for 10 years from now.
Right.
Yeah. Because when they decide to implement the new product, it's a heavy investment. We are talking about 50 billion euro.
Yeah.
And they want to make sure that it's not just for one generation of chip. It's set for the future.
Right.
So that's one, and you have to be ahead of the game.
Right.
When you have that, then you are called, like Nearfield, single source of supply. That's what I prefer to say instead of saying monopoly. We are at the single source of supply.
Yeah.
Now, what customers want to do to make a competition, because they do not want to be dependent only like ASM. So this is where we are.
Right. Very helpful. Very interesting outlook and guidance there. So we have just a couple minutes left. I want to open up for any questions that people may have. We have one here in the front row, second to front row.
Thank you, Samit. So what is your point of view on having a very diverse team representation in early stage deep tech companies, pre-product market fit? Would you prefer to have a more homogeneous or more heterogeneous towards product market fit?
I don't answer, so very good questions. is I do not answer it from whether you are early stage or not. I answer it from the deep tech point of view. And this is what I believed with every single cell of myself. This is what is high in our agenda. In deep tech, like our equipment, is a multidisciplinary. It has many risks. The challenge, the winning point is that you identify the hidden risks as soon as possible. Yeah? You bring it on the table. When you have a diverse team, by all the definition, but consequence is that you have a different point of views that they can bring on the table. And that helps to bring different risks. The angle that I look at a challenge, a development, is different than somebody else. If it is from a completely different culture, different gender, different ethnicity, it's just the way that they grew up, and that helps. Yeah? Now, that's the diversity. It's not enough only diversity. Inclusion is more important. Why? Because you can have a diverse teams. They can have an idea of risk, but if they don't feel included, they don't speak up. So the inclusion is also important. Third is that they have to feel part of the community. When do you feel that you are part of a community and committed? When you see future. And that comes to equity. So diversity, equity, and inclusion are equally important. For at least my experience, I cannot talk about other sectors, deep tech, very challenging, aggressive markets.
Brilliant response and great question. Thank you. I am going to end us there just because what is coming next is our lunch and our break. And I thank you so much, Hamed, for your time. It was wonderful to hear from you, inspiring to hear from you. And we thank you for being with us. A quick announcement that there are a couple different options for lunch. I believe there's the Annabelle Cafe, there's the beer garden outside. Those are paid options, but feel free to enjoy. We will be back here at 1:30, and we're going to be talking with Bibi, who is the founder of UMob, which is a mobility app. She has a special discount code for us. We'll be talking to a platinum-selling DJ who's also founded a whole ecosystem of businesses that are propping and growing each other, which is great. And last but not least, we'll be talking to Jochen Reimann, who you may recognize as a comedian who is now working in diversity and would further underline some really wonderful things that you just said. So thank you, everyone. A round of applause, please. And we'll see you back here after the lunch break.